still remember the swell of heat flooding my cheeks as I stood at the front of the church hall that Saturday. The pews creaked beneath the shifting weight of neighbors and relatives. Our priest, Father Medina, perched on the edge of the old oak pulpit, eyes bright above his drooping mustache. I stood with my hands laced tightly in front of me, knuckles white, as if I could squeeze my embarrassment out like lemon juice. The church hall smelled of wooden polish, old prayers, and the caramel notes of fresh coffee. Someone had brought pastries from the Panaderia Facturas with pastel jelly fillings, but I couldn't taste a thing. My father's hand clamped my shoulder, not unkindly, but heavy enough so I wouldn't turn and bolt. Tia Gloria was first to speak. A craftsman, yes, she said, lips pressed thin. But this running away dream of guitars and workshops in the old barrio, do you have any notion what you're giving up, Nicolas? Her voice carried, as it always did at birthdays and funerals, slicing through the muted grumbles in the chestnut-filled air. Artistry is noble, but impossible in this world, hijo. My mother's voice, softer but edged with pleading, joined from the left pew. Her eyes were red at the corners, worn thin from worry. Near the back, Mateo, my older cousin, flicked at his phone and didn't bother to look up. His voice followed anyway, amused and sharp. How will you pay your bills, Nico? Hand-making violins for ghosts? The laughter was never loud, but it rippled, bouncing off the high stone archways and undercutting my resolve. I looked at the friends I'd grown up with, faces mostly blank, no one daring to meet my gaze. Only Valeria, standing near the kitchen, met my eye with a quick, sympathetic shake of her head. She used to braid my hair when we were children. Father Medina cleared his throat, straightening his clerical collar. Son, you have a good mind. Your family needs you in real work. This city chews up dreamers. The world is not made for passion. It's made for practicality. Your grandfather fixed radios for 40 years. Your father carves doors. Why must you chase something so uncertain? My hands trembled. I saw the lines in my father's face, the fatigue from night shifts at the mill. I understood. Still, I heard my own voice, stubborn and unruly. Papa, I love music. I feel it in my hands. When I watch an instrument take shape, it's life. If I do not try to make it, I will never forgive myself. A sigh, a rustle of jackets. They didn't see the shiver in my heart, the hunger gnawing louder with every dismissal. It was as though I declared I wanted to be a magician or an astronaut, something foolish, childish. But for me, it was oxygen, the feel of maple and spruce, the delicate arch of a violin neck, the promise of music inside the wood. The meeting dissolved into side chatter. The plan was to pressure me into apprenticeship at the factory, or down the train yard with my uncle. Someone clapped me on the back as if I had lost a bet and must now pay the price. I walked home alone that afternoon, streets slicked with the drizzle of an early winter storm. My sneakers splashed through shallow puddles. I let stray dog tails and murmured cafe radios drown out the last barbed laughter from the community hall. Chasing away the hurt by repeating, over and over, I know what I want. I know what I want. That summer, after months of cold shoulders and awkward silences at family gatherings, I left Buenos Aires carrying only 2 changes of clothes and a battered sketchbook filled with designs. On the bus north, an old man played tangos from a chipped accordion. Every note was a defiance, every phrase an invitation toward my own unbeaten path. I found work in Rosario. At first sanding doors and fixing creaking stair treads for an uncle willing to put up with my stubbornness. At night, I watched YouTube videos in the cramped kitchen, hunched over the weak glow of my phone. I copied each movement, bending wood with steam, shaving curves smooth with cheap chisels, fitting mortises tight with trembling patience. I saved everything I could. Instead of new shoes or nights out, I bought maple offcuts from a violin workshop on the other side of the city. For months, I lost myself after hours in a borrowed garage, learning the grain of soundboards and the secrets of purfling. It was slow, and there were many failures. Sometimes my hands ached from sanding. Splinters dug into my palms, and glue stuck under my fingernails. I missed my mother's arroz con pollo, the sing-song humor of my cousins. I missed the cool hush of San Martin Square at dusk. I missed home. There were days when I questioned everything. Clumsy scrolls cracked in my trembling fingers, and each failed attempt felt like the echo of every mocking voice back home. Was I as foolish as they said? Was a life spent chasing the ghosts of music worth so much loneliness and hunger? Evenings, I walked along the Paraná riverfront, letting the wind untangle my doubts while ferries drifted by in luminous beads of white and yellow. Somewhere in the city, distant kids practiced bandoneon and guitar, the notes faint but persistent, a reminder that creation did matter, at least to someone. I got lucky once when a kind luthier named Pablo took me on. He found me waiting outside his shop 3 mornings in a row, and instead of waving me off, he handed me a broom. On the 4th day, I asked if I could watch him work. He never answered out loud, but angled the lamp wider so I could peer closer. I learned not from words, but from silences. The steadiness of Pablo's hands, the careful listening to the tap of spruce tops, the precise way sound holes were shaped. He let me sweep, glue, fetch coffee, until one day, without turning, he tugged on a stool and gestured, "Sit, try the chisel." There was a dignity in that workshop, a respect for wood, for patience, for the possibility of failure. I grew quieter, hungrier. My back straightened, my hands toughened into tools of their own. Years rolled by. The world outside continued to grind and shift. Elections came and went. Cafes changed owners. The rivers flooded and receded. I sent home cryptic letters filled with sketches of violins, hoping for even a few words of pride. Sometimes months passed before my mother would call, voice thick with unsaid anxieties. "Are you eating enough, Nico? Come back for your birthday." I couldn't, not until I had something to show. When I completed my first full instrument, a concert guitar, I set it trembling on Pablo's battered workbench. The spruce top gleamed pale gold. The rosette was inlaid with a sliver from the cherry tree that grew at my childhood home. He played a single G chord. The tone was imperfect, but living, swollen with possibility. Pablo nodded once, light shifting at the corner of his mouth. "You have hands for this, Chico. One day, people will come from far to play your guitars." That night, I wept quietly, tears staining the waxy finish of my work. After that, progress came in slow, unpredictable waves. Some months I fixed only cracked bridges or replaced tuners for buskers. But word drifted, as it does in all old cities. One tango quartet commissioned an archtop. I crafted a double bass for a jazz auditorium, sweating rivulets as I bent the sides, praying the arch would hold. When a Brazilian luthier visiting Rosario complimented my fretwork, I pinched myself so hard my arm bruised. I ate better, slept lighter. My little shop became cluttered with sawdust, violin bodies drying on string lines, curling shavings winking in the slanted morning light. People paid me. I started sending some money home. Still, I heard nothing of my shame in Buenos Aires, no mention of those who'd thought I'd fail. Then, one rainy spring, my phone buzzed with an unfamiliar number. A man introduced himself as Gustavo Ramirez, principal cellist with the Teatro Colón Symphony. He was looking for a luthier to restore a historic cello, built in 1886 and wounded by decades of tours. He'd heard of me from a music professor in Rosario. I could barely breathe. My hands shook. After a week of sleepless nights and return calls, I was invited to Buenos Aires for an interview. It was to be held in a practice room beneath the echoing marble domes of the Teatro Colón itself. Returning to my city after so many years felt like walking into a dream. The streets were brighter than I remembered, busier, the air laced with coffee grounds and rain. My old neighborhood looked both the same and impossibly